So, way to put a different spin on things. My pancake has now become a soft tortilla taco shell. I've got 4 Eve's, I think these are the kale and quinoa or the broccoli bites. And I'm just gonna put some prepared salsa on it. I don't have anything homemade and I don't have any hummus that I usually make. So here we go. We're just gonna put some of that on there. I heated it up already, and then if I put it together like so, I have got a taco shell. And I don't have any vegan cheese because I really haven't ventured out and tried any of that yet, and I don't have any lettuce or anything, like I said, prepared. I have to go grocery shopping. But I'm glad I found a use for these, and it's going to taste just fine.
Good morning, YouTube. It's Saturday morning and the day is getting away from me. I'm in the mood for some kind of a pancake or a crepe, and I don't really have a lot of ingredients in the house, and I'm trying to eat vegetarian or vegan. So this is what I'm going to put together today and see how it works out. I'm going to be using water, and then I'm going to be using a garbanzo bean flour, which is basically chickpea flour, and I'm going to be using some flaxseed meal as the egg replacement. And I'm kind of in the mood for something savory first, so I have a feeling it's going to be more like a crepe, like a thinner pancake. So I'm going to add some chives to it and some allspice, maybe a little bit of cinnamon, and see how that goes. And then for my second pancake, I think I might add some fruit to it. So again, I will use the chickpea flour, the flaxseed meal, the cinnamon, the allspice, and I think I'm going to put some coconut in it. So I will be back in a flash and let you know how it's going. And as much as I don't want to use oil, I definitely don't want to use butter or canned cooking spray to grease my pan. So I am just going to put a very little amount of virgin olive oil in the pan and wipe it out with a paper towel, just so it doesn't stick to the pan. Before we get these pancakes or crepes underway, my morning routine usually consists of weighing myself. I do this every day recently because I find if I ignore the scale or throw away the scale, yeah, that seemed like good advice, but then I totally lose track of my weight, and before you know it, I'm up 10, 15, 20 pounds. So I'm making a point of weighing myself for the past 2 months, 3 months. And this way, even if I have 3 or 4 pound weight fluctuations, usually it's because of sodium or something that I ate that, caused my body to retain fluid. And I have been stalled on the scale. I haven't lost any more weight. So hopefully I'm going to be able to get back on track and lose some more pounds. So after I weighed myself, I still am down 8 pounds. So that's really not too bad. I've only gained a couple back in 2 months.
The next thing I do is, well, actually I take my blood sugar first, but I'll just show you my vitamins since I have them here. I usually take a B1 magnesium. I'm taking some kind of an amino acid for digestion and a chromium, and then at night I'll take a B12, I'll take a gabapentin for nerve pain, a selenium, another chromium, and a biotin. And some of these I'm going to be phasing out because I just don't think they're necessary. So I'm going to be testing my blood sugar, and I hope it's a decent reading. The thing, and I didn't do that very good. Hopefully it's going to work out. Okay, 6.6. Well, it's not the greatest. I was trying to aim for under 6, but I'll take it. I'm sure I'm going to have to adjust these quantities, but like I said, I'm just roughly winging my ingredients. So I have just a little tiny bit over a cup of water, and then I'm going to add 1 cup of garbanzo bean flour, a tablespoon of flaxseed meal, a tablespoon of chives, a tablespoon of allspice, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. And we'll see what that looks like if the batter is thick enough to put in the frying pan. Since I'm not going to work today, I still have a smoothie. I sip on it throughout the day, put it in the fridge if it gets too warm, and I usually will have this whole container for the day. I let my pan preheat on the oven for about 5 minutes. It's more on a medium-low temperature. And I did lightly grease it with olive oil because I don't want to use butter or margarine. And since I'm making a savory pancake, I figure that will turn out all right.
I let my pancake or crepe mixture sit for about 10 minutes, and I have a feeling it's going to be pretty thin, so I'm just going to do one to see how it starts off. Okay, and I see that it is going to be pretty runny. It is starting to cook and brown, so I think I'm going to try and flip it shortly and then be able to taste test before deciding whether I want to make the rest of the batter or start over. It's a pretty thin batter, and it's going to be, I'm not quite sure if I'm even going to be able to flip this. I will check back in a minute. My intention was to make a savory pancake or crepe this morning for breakfast, but after trying it, it's actually more like a lunch or dinner snack item. I'd say that because I made the batter so thinly that it's definitely more the consistency of a crepe. I rolled it up just for comparison so you can see. And this is just a small one, it's just a test one. If I had probably cooked it on a higher heat to begin with, like if I'd put it on medium heat instead of medium low, it probably would have cooked up faster, and I can tell it was starting to puff up. And I'm going to try the first side for 5 minutes and then flip it and see if it's cooked. The test one that I did, it's kind of mushy. I mean, that's what chickpeas essentially are. It's mushy when you eat them, like a hummus, but I really don't want that in a pancake or a crepe. So I think a higher heat and a longer cooking time is what's needed. And I just added also a little bit of Mrs. Dash, the salt-free Fiesta Lime, because I am going for something not sweet. And we'll see how this one turns out. 5 minutes was up on the timer, so I flipped it, and this is how I can tell it wasn't quite ready. It was sticking to the bottom, which means it was still too wet. I know I would have much better results if I used a griddle, but I really don't have the space for a griddle, and I don't really like to use it because I'm just cooking for one. Even if I'm meal prepping, I don't know, I just don't like having a big griddle hanging around. But maybe there's these stovetop kinds that are pretty similar that would be better for cooking pancakes. I'll have to look into that. After 5 minutes on medium heat, I can see that it's more crispier. I can hear the crispiness, so I'm hoping this will eliminate the mushiness that was in the middle of the crepe, and I was concerned about it burning, but I think I flipped it in time. As you can see, the consistency is way better after 5 minutes of cooking. It does have a bit of a crispier edge to it and is just starting to burn, so I flipped it in time. And it does look like a pancake. I'm not going to be adding syrup to it. I'm just going to be eating it just like this. If I had prepared for this properly, I probably would have had some kind of vegetables or something to dress it up and make it look more appealing. But I'm just going for taste right now, so I'll let you know how that turns out. That one almost flipped perfectly, and you can see how nice and golden brown it is. It's not burnt yet. So definitely it takes about 5 minutes on medium heat. After my third pancake, I have something that I'm happy with. It's nice and browned, it's crispy, it's not burnt, and if I taste it in a second, I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any of that mush left. And next time I'll prepare something with, I have nothing to dress this up with. I don't have any kind of sauce or vegetables or anything to make this, look appealing, but this was basically just my first crack at chickpea flour pancakes, and I'd say it's pretty good, but this is definitely more of a lunch or supper or snack item. Here's what happened with that first batch I made. I made a small test pancake crepe about, well, maybe not quite this size, maybe a little bit smaller, which I had to throw away because I tried to flip it too soon and it was no good. Then I was able to get better because I learned that it had to be on a higher heat for a longer period of time, and I got about 2 of these. And then my very last pancake was this one here, and it's smaller, so it crisped up really nice. 4 pancakes, and if I had been really hungry, I would have been able to eat those, no problem. But I shouldn't be calling them pancakes because honestly, I would be eating this more like a lunch or supper item with vegetables or some kind of
healthy sauce. So actually, it didn't start out that well, but the taste is good for me, and it's a nice bread alternative. Okay, so I discovered a use for this. This would make one heck of a taco shell. Okay, well that did not work. Look what the tapioca flour did. It made it look like a gummy paste, and I put it in my mouth to taste it, and it tastes just like it looks, gummy and gross. Okay, so maybe I didn't get my sweet pancake this morning, so on with the sugar-free syrup on the savory pancake anyway.